Hello, lovely listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Power of Three podcast. As part of the Being Me series, today we're going to be delving into the wonderful world of gaming. Why gaming, you ask? Well, I've been gaming ever since I could pick up a controller, really, which is over 20 years ago. Delving into the wonderful pixelated worlds of the Sega Mega Drive and Master System, for those who's old enough to remember those. And yeah, so it's been a part of my life very, very long time. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about what games we used to play when we were younger and what our first consoles were and what we remember about gaming from back then, to talking about some of our favourite gaming franchises, a little bit about what we're playing now, and speculate on where we see gaming in the future. So, without further ado, let's press start and get started. Do you know what used to like putting me to sleep? You know how some people like having the TV on?
Yeah.
Or like whatever. I used to get my mum to play games.
Did
for
you?
me. Yeah. I'd like
Play
get her to
games for you?
yeah, so it means like I'd get her to like play Spyro or like Sonic, and then I'd like watch her play it until I like fell asleep.
Oh, that's so cute.
I used to love that.
What was your favourite game to watch her play?
I'd probably say Spyro. I think because like it was quite like it's quite like bright and vivid, and you like go through all the magical places. And I remember like in the first one, there's like a whole level that's like kind of based around like dreams and stuff. It's called the Dreamweaver world. So like it would kind of sort of like get me into that headspace. Like, you know, when like you're a little kid, so like your imagination like
Runs wild.
yeah. It's like, it's a nice kind of sort of headspace to go into, to like go in to sleep with. Because then you then have like magical dreams. And it's like really fun.
Have you
But, yeah.
ever like been playing a game and you're tired, but you're like, I need to just try and finish this level. I need to finish this level. And you're like falling asleep and you're like craning your eyes open.
I've fallen asleep to a lot of games.
We fell asleep to Dungeon Defenders.
We did.
We would be like waiting for a boss level, because we used to have like play with like guys that were like high levels, and because they were high levels they could like do a setup whereby you like don't really need to do much in terms of like the defense,
Yeah.
and the monsters and creatures and stuff were coming at you. So yeah, one time we did that and we just like woke up in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
But it was still going.
It was still going.
Yeah.
It was like one of those like, because it's like a tower defense game, and it was like one of those modes where, I think it was like nightmare mode, and it basically meant that you would have like a load of turns where things would come. But the reason why you did it is obviously you got money from it, but you also got like really rare like loot from it as well. And yeah, I think it did run all night, because we fell asleep and woke up and we were like, oh, okay, I'm like level whatever now, great.
Sweet. I'm like leveling up.
Yeah.
I think it's never really good when you wait until you're tired though. Because I remember when me and my father were playing Divinity 2, it was, we get to kind of like a battle, and obviously it's turn-based, so there are like those moments where you can fall asleep because things are happening, and then it'll be your turn, and then we'd be like, babe, oh, okay, I'll save it here then. But we would be doing terribly, like not be able to complete it, and then we'd fall asleep, wake up and be like, when we went back to it, we'd just be like, oh, did we just have to do that? You just beat them fast, easily as well.
I've fallen asleep to playing CTR quite a few times, and I think that's like it's really obvious, because like at points like they'll just be like, why are you just driving off the edge, and I'll be like, what?
It would just go, like, if you look down at his screen, he would just, like, constantly be going over the...
Because I'd have my hand on the, like, acceleration button, but obviously, like, when you're asleep, you can't, like... Yeah.
And you spawn, like, the same place again and again. Yeah. It's like, you're tapping with it.
You never want to admit you've fallen asleep ever?
No.
I did it when we were here, when we played Overcooked last here.
Oh no,
I fell
everyone
asleep
noticed, trust me. We all noticed. And we kept going, Liam, do you want to go to bed, mate? And you're like, no. We're like, go to bed, mate. But the three of us were just up, like, talking, and you were, like, not responding.
I remember we, like, even put a film on that, like, during the time you were, like...
Did you put a film on? Oh my god.
We put a documentary on, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't say I remember the end of it, but you were definitely asleep when we You were definitely asleep by the time we
And that was the
finished
night we
playing
played
games.
Rick and Morty, wasn't it? Was
Yeah.
it Rick and Morty?
No, it was the other game where you can get into those, like, creatures, the world building
The
game.
dream thing.
Yes. Oh, we were playing Dreams on PlayStation, and it was the the kind of detective, the musician.
Yeah, where he played like saxophone, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or the trumpet.
Trumpets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bart, maybe? Or
I can't remember his name.
but I want to say something beginning with C.
He wears a
yeah,
hat, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
I can
And there was really cool characters. That was a really good game. But that's like a whole kind of the concept of like Little Big Planet. You know, they have like communities where you can make your own levels and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
That game is basically just about that, like you creating things. But you got a load of stickers for us, so thanks.
That was really fun, actually, playing. I like the idea
was.
that you can, like, float into the characters and, like...
Control them.
Yeah, and float, and like, control that part of the story. That was cool.
Yeah, especially when you could start shooting things at things.
I'm trying to find what the level is.
There's some Arthur. His name was Arthur. I want to say Arthur, not that. It's the
Art Stream.
Art.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Art Stream? You're close.
No.
Arthur. Well, Arthur. Short.
Arthur is
Art
very
short for
close.
Arthur. So
Yeah,
you
but I
know.
said Bert first.
Second time.
That was like Bert. Yeah, no, that was really good. And
That's a
we
really fun game.
specifically like wanted to get you guys in that because it was on PlayStation. You know
Yeah.
that, right?
It's so weird because in our lifetime, it's changed so much. Like from, like, I don't know, kind of like what your first console was, but like going from like cartridges to now, like there's like a little box in your living room that's like probably the same size as a fucking cartridge, like that they used to have, that you can just play on in your like lifetime. Like it's jumped so much, and it's still evolving, like with VR and everything now.
Well, it's not. It's already at the point with Stadia where you don't even need a physical console.
Yeah.
You don't. You just need a little adapter that you hide behind your TV, and you can play quite a few games.
I think
crazy.
my first console was a Dreamcast, but I also had a PlayStation. I still got them, the older consoles. But yeah, did you have a favourite? What was your oldest first console?
We had Master System. I was actually playing it in the womb. Sonic on the Master System and Alex Kidd, which probably explains a lot. But yeah, so we had two Master Systems, one that had Sonic on it and one that had Alex Kidd on it. But that was from like, even saying that, when we had it, they were still quite old because I think they came out in like 86 or something. So yeah, but that was our first one, was Master System. But we also had a Mega Drive as well. Technically my first two consoles were Sega Master System and Mega Drive, or Genesis for American listeners. But yeah, what was yours?
N64.
Oh really?
Yeah, my first console was N64, but my cousin had a Sega, so I used to play Sega with her. And then my parents, she was slightly older than me, so she kind of had a choice before me. And then my parents was like, okay, I really think it was just because my dad wanted to play GoldenEye.
That was a very, very... I think it was the best-selling game on
Yeah, I used to play it with my cousins. It was great. I was actually talking about this with a colleague at work the other day. So we were saying that's like the one game we remember from N64. But yeah, that was my first. And then I've had like handheld consoles, like the Playboy.
Game Boy?
Yeah, the Game Boy. I had the black and white one. Did you have black and white Game Boy?
I had the colour one.
I never owned a Game Boy, actually.
Really?
Well, you never played well, I only ever got the Game Boy because of Pokemon. And like, well, I'm still obsessed with Pokemon even now. Like, it's the game I play on my phone the most. So like, I got a Game Boy Color specifically for the, for the Game Boys. Especially because the second games were also in like colour, so it was kind of like, it was blue. I remember it was so cute.
I had a pink one.
Oh.
I had quite a lot of like Game Boys. I had the black and white one, I had the colour, and I had the
Advance one?
Was it called Advance?
Was it the purple one?
Yeah.
With the
That was more of a kind of Switch type.
Yeah.
Design. Yeah, I had one of those too.
I still have mine actually at home, I think. It doesn't work.
The purple?
Yeah.
I probably have it somewhere. Don't know. Maybe. I do think that Pokemon was definitely one of the main games that I played on Game Boy though, and Donkey Kong.
Oh, Donkey Kong.
Love a bit of Donkey Kong. I also had that on the N64 too.
Oh.
Did you guys play any Nintendo?
No, I've not really played many Nintendo games until I met you.
Oh,
because there's Monkey Billiards, that's a Nintendo game.
Yeah, that's GameCube. Yeah, which is Nintendo. Yeah. Well, see, we didn't because like we never really had. So we were like Sega growing up, and then we got a PS1, and then we just stayed like PlayStation because I had played like the Super Nintendo like on other people's consoles. But my first actual Nintendo was a GameCube. So I never really played N64. I think I might have played it like once or twice. But even all of my friends, they were like PlayStation or Xbox people. They weren't really like, they weren't really Nintendo people. So, again, other than the only, apart from Thingy, obviously Pokemon. But no, I didn't really. I feel like I missed out though. There was a lot of good Nintendo games. Like Zelda, that's part of the reason why I'm not like a massive fan, because I never like grew up with it. And I feel like I wish I had, because like it's so cool. Like some of the N64 titles are like amazing, but I suppose I could still replay them.
Yeah.
But no, I never like had Nintendo.
I mean, talking of Nintendo, we didn't even discuss them with the whole like Sony Xbox thing. We didn't even bother to think about Nintendo.
No.
I think they've gone more into the sort of virtual sort of world, aren't they?
I feel like they just haven't been able to keep up for a while. Like Dreamcast.
That was Sega.
That was Sega, yeah. Like Dreamcast, I had a Dreamcast. That didn't keep up. And then I feel like the Switch did, like, what was the other one? The Wii. I like the Wii, but I had a Wii. Well, my mum had a Wii. See how my parents just like... I actually had 2 Dreamcasts because my mum bought me one and my parents were separated. And then I used to take it to my dad's to play it with my cousins and stuff like that. And my dad bought one for his house.
Nice.
And I really just think it's because he wanted to play it, but he said it was fine.
I feel like at that time parents were like they shouldn't have liked games, so they were just like, I'll buy them for the kids, wink. It's just like, dude, you play it more than I do, but okay.
But the N64, so you talk about Zelda, like I never really played Zelda. I played Zelda with my cousins who were really into N64, like my older male cousins. And they would have like Zelda and all of these games and stuff like that. But the only games that my dad bought for me were driving ones, which he liked. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy the racing games, but I feel like they were better at it than me. Sometimes it would be like, Dad, can I have the controller back? Can I play now? And he would always do Winner Stays On.
That's a good rule, though.
It is a good rule,
It is a good rule, but then you end up with one person just never not going on. So they need to pee or something.
Yeah, I wish I had more Nintendo stuff. As in, well, I say more Nintendo stuff, it was just N64 I missed out on. I didn't have a Dreamcast either, actually.
I'm thinking that's what I played Tekken on, but I might be wrong.
You did, I remember you telling me you had a Dreamcast.
Yeah. I do have a Dreamcast. I also had a Sega, I'm sure, because I've still got that Sega. It's
the Mega Drive.
Yeah, with the
thing cartridge.
Yeah, that goes on top.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
See, that's the same kind of cartridges that the Nintendos had. Because I didn't have what was the first one called again?
The Super Nintendo.
Yeah, my cousins had the Super Nintendo, and they had the cartridges, and the N64 had the cartridges, but they were slightly different, I believe.
Yeah, I think they were bigger.
Yeah, they were quite hefty, weren't they? And the other day we were watching a video of these guys rebuilding console to work on the TV from the N64s or whatever, and they were blowing on the console the
oh yeah,
what's it called, the game.
The cartridge. Yeah.
They would blow when it wouldn't work or it wouldn't load. You just take it out and you'd be like into the cartridge, and then you plug it in and it works.
The thing
or
is,
you blow it into the game itself.
If it really wasn't working, that's when you then had to be like, okay, getting that in there. They recently debunked that as just like an urban myth.
The funny thing is in this video he said exactly like that it's not going to change anything and the game wouldn't work, and then he blew on it and it
does, yeah.
Well, actually,
I don't care what they say.
It could attract dust and stuff.
Apparently, you blow it on it is not helping remove the dust.
But I stick by it. To be fair, it's always worked for me. But I did I was more of because obviously I was a PlayStation person, so I didn't have a lot of cartridges besides my Game Boy ones to thingy. But discs in themselves were also very frustrating when they get scratched. And then they'd just be there'd be parts of your game and it'd just be nah, you can't play that bit anymore. Just lag out. I remember we had it a problem with, I think it might have been the laser thing in our PS1, and literally I was playing Tekken, and it would load the stage, but then it would have it that the characters were, instead of at the ground, they were walking on the air instead, upside down. And you couldn't like fight properly, and if you jumped and did a certain thing, it would like skip because like the laser and the thing like fucked up, and then we had to replace it.
Oh,
yeah.
It's like the Red X.
Oh my god, the Red X of Doom, Red Rings of Doom on the Xbox.
I always say the X because it had an X on it, and I think because of Rick and Morty, it's always Red X.
Oh yeah.
What would you say your all-time favourite games were? Maybe like top 3.
Oh, that is such a hard question.
I think you specifically, because I feel like out of all of us, you probably, or maybe we can like narrow it down. Maybe we can kind of go from the way you play it. So maybe, because like mobile gaming is a whole other thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like a whole, which, oh my god. No, we have to like have it like separate out the mobile games because that's a whole different that's a whole different category. Oh my gosh. I'm going to let you guys answer that first while I ponder because that's a very difficult question.
See, mine's easy. My number 1 is probably Tekken.
Really?
No.
Yeah, I love Tekken. Number 2, I would probably say Crash.
Oh.
And number 3, I'm going to say... This is more recently, I think, in the last 10 years, Soul Calibur.
Oh yeah, that's a good kind of franchise.
You guys really like the fighting games.
I think it's because they offer that element of sort of cooperative playing. I think that's very important.
Cooperative, you're like, again, it's not very I get what you mean.
Okay, change that to 2-player. 2-player. I like 2-player like games because I feel like I like that engagement when you're playing with someone else. Because I think most of the games I played when I was younger was with my mum. We used to play a lot of running games, driving games as well on the PS1. So I think that's the games I tend to lean towards.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your top 3?
Again, I think we might need to skip Shauna.
How are you struggling?
There's
You're
so
like-
many to choose from. Because, like, fighting games, like... But even then, picking a fighting game would be tough. Because fighting games were one of the earliest I played. Like, I think I was, like, maybe, like, 4 or 5 when I first started playing them. So I was, like, really young. So it's really hard to kind of, like, go through that whole, like, back catalogue. So I'm going to need, like, a bit more time.
You need a day.
Shauna. I might have to edit in my answer later.
Top 3 games. See, I tend to like the cooperative, the multiplayer games. I think just because I do enjoy playing with other people.
Yeah.
I'm not that good with shooting games, so I don't mind watching other people play games. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm just like what is it, God of War?
Oh, yeah.
Gears of War?
No, God
There's
of War.
God of War too.
Right,
This I know because there's a number 2 coming out with the new consoles, and I want to watch him play it again. And like The Last of Us and stuff like that. Like, I would be terrible with like things. I'm better with platformers.
Oh, yeah.
So we would play like a lot of platformers together because I'm just more comfortable with that. But we do play like other games as well. And so a lot of my top 3 will probably be platformers, and I think. Maybe Little Big Planet.
I thought you was going to say that.
Well, exactly, so that's why it had to be in there. Actually, this is a single player game, but we played it together. So, Beat Buddy.
Okay, I don't think I've had that one.
Okay, so I don't actually know what console it is, because I don't know how we played it. I just remember Mafara handed me a controller and we played it. It's like this little, I want to say like a little fish thing. And you kind of, it's a platformer undersea, and you've got to kind of do little tasks and blah 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 as you do platforms, but it's all based on the beat of a song, so each level has like a track.
Kind of like the music levels in Rayman.
Exactly.
Oh, that sounds so
And
cool.
it's the whole game, and the track is pretty good.
What is it
that's
called?
Beat Buddy.
Beat Buddy.
That's our
We might
favourite
need to play
type
that.
levels in Rayman. Actually.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
much fun.
Those, I loved playing those, where you had to kind of, so you've got like time everything, so you have to hit something in the beat in order to unlock the level or whatever, so you've kind of got to do things. It's so fun. It is single player, like I said, but we just took turns and it was so much fun. So that would be number 2, so Beat Buddy, and then number 3, again, I feel like this is just because of kind of the memories that I have with it, but Divinity 2, Original Sin.
Yeah. Is that like recent memories with Divinity?
We started playing last year, but I feel like that's properly dragged me back into gaming, like, whereas where I would watch playing Spider-Man and stuff like that, like things I didn't feel like I had the skill level to actually complete. Like, I tried to play GTA by myself and it got to the point twice now, where I just cannot do the task. And it's gotten to the point where it's like, babe, can you do this for me? And just pass the level. But back in the day when I had a PS2, it got to the point where I literally couldn't. I tried for hours to pass this mission and I just couldn't, so I just leave them alone.
I find for me some games are actually easier with playing it on a handheld or on the PC than it is on a console, and vice versa. Because for me, GTA, I did try playing it on like the PS2 and on that, but because there was San Andreas and a couple of others, didn't they? They had on the PlayStation 2. And I found that when I was playing GTA on my PS Vita, that like I was so good at it, passing all the missions and like doing a load of crazy stuff.
Oh, that reminds me, that's upstairs.
Oh, you see,
I still have it, it's in my drawer.
how long have you had that for?
A couple of years. You don't even know. Like, I literally have had it maybe since we were at uni.
It's got Crash on it actually.
It's got a lot of things on it.
Crash Team Racing.
I haven't picked it up, and I may need to find the charger actually. I've moved a lot of times since then.
I remember when you first got that, you were so excited.
Yeah.
You like played it for a while.
Yeah, but how did it get to the point where I borrowed it? And the thing is, I've tried to give it back to you a number of times, I remember. And like, It's like you've just moved on.
Well, I guess we have a PlayStation 4 now.
Yeah.
That's most of the games I do, or on my phone. Just one game, Pokemon Go.
Oh, okay.
Pokemon Go.
Talking of mobile games, then I'm gonna go back to something I know we've all played. How long's it been since you played Nibblers?
I actually tried to play it a couple of weeks ago, but as of speaking, I'm kind of disappointed. It's not optimised for this phone yet.
Probably because no one's playing.
So it's still like
That's what you need to play it.
it's got like the square screen. So it's been a long while. Well, I tried it I think a few weeks ago when I was looking for that kind of thing and set off a Blossom Blast instead.
Yeah, see,
I'm so
Blossom
addicted
Blast kind of. It's just right. I'm always playing match 3 games.
They're so much fun.
We spiraled into Candy Crush, then we bounced into Candy Crush Soda, then we spiraled into Nibblers, then we did Blossom Blast for a bit. Have we found a new, why have we not found a new match 3 game that we can all spiral
I
on
know.
again? I think it's because you really don't want me to play the same game as you anymore.
Well, actually, that's not
That's not true.
Because you need to get into Pokemon Go.
No, that's not match 3 game though, is it?
You can
Can
trade
be.
in battle.
You match
You match
one Pokeball to one Pokemon and then it gives you something. So technically you do
Guys.
match 3 things. It's just in different...
Guys, you complain every time you come to Eastbourne that there's not enough Pokestops. Do you really think I'm going to get into Pokemon Go now?
Do you know what? I don't blame you because I'm sitting here looking at it. There's not one. There's at ours. There's at least 2 that we can alternate between while sat in our living room. I would have to walk so far just to get a Pokestop. I think the gym is closer than a Pokestop, and that is saying something. For gyms are supposed to be a bit less frequent than Pokestops, and there's a gym
no
closer.
One near me is actually playing.
There is Pokemon in it, so someone is.
Yeah. To be fair, it's a part of Eastbourne.
Got kids on this
Yeah.
road, so I can't imagine there's most people are older than me on this road, so I wouldn't be surprised if they were. I would love if my neighbour came in and went, "Oh, Sean, I'm playing Pokemon Go."
Help me do this raid.
She'd be useless with us. She'd be better off trying to coax the fur to doing it for her.
It's so good.
Did you arrive at your top 3 yet?
Interestingly enough, I think I might have done.
Well, I
And
hope so.
Segue, because I think Pokemon is probably going to be in the... I'm not ranking these from 1 to 3, because I think that would be very difficult to do. But I think Pokemon definitely, because I think it was probably... Even though I was still... Well, I guess I was 7 when I first got it. It's kind of something that I've been playing for a really long time. And it was the first time where I ever kind of had I don't know, I guess my handheld. And it was really fun. And it's really fun even now, even though I don't necessarily play the main series ones anymore. There's still parts of Pokemon that I still engage with even now, obviously Pokemon Go and stuff. So I say that's definitely in there. I probably would have to say the Soul Calibur series, because it was also a game that I've literally been playing since I was 5. And it's actually really fun, and I do really like fighting games, because again, it does have that multiplayer element to it. And I like the fantasy stuff to it as well, because I'm a big fan of that stuff, as you guys know. The third one's really hard.
You've had all this time to think.
Right, yeah.
You play so many games.
I probably...
This is what happens when you have too many games played.
I would say Tales of Symphonia is probably in there too.
What, sorry?
Tales of Symphonia, it is such a good game. It is so much fun. I got Dale sucked into it. He played it with me a couple of times.
What is it?
So it's kind of based on it's basically there's a Tales series of games. It's a JRPG. So a lot of them get PS2 and PS3 exclusives that don't get released in the West, which is really annoying. But they're getting better with that now. But it's basically so they're usually set in kind of the same kind of universe, and they have very specific ways of playing. So it's kind of more action-based rather than turn-based, and not a lot of JRPGs, but quite a fair few of them are like that, whereas this is a bit more But the story's like really cool. So you basically like you're like going to save the world, but then like when you do it, like I don't want to like say the story either because there's like a big twist if people haven't like played it, which I guess spoils it somewhat. But there's a lot of what the fuck moments like in it that make it like that you're literally just like shit, because they're kind of like animes, I suppose, in a little way, like with their stories. So it's kind of like there's a lot of stuff where you're literally just like, oh my god, what the fuck, like, which is why I really like it, because it's kind of like you're playing like a TV show or like a film in that sense, rather than it being... So it was a very long explanation as to what the game was about. But it's like you go save the world and you're like travelling with like a group of people, and there's magic and there's like all of this other stuff, political intrigue and stuff to do with race. Like it even like tackles like themes like real world serious themes, like the role of religion in society and like racism and like classism and all of that stuff. So yeah, so that's why it's in my top one. It's a very long thing, but I think games like that are really cool, because that's when it becomes kind of like art, like, you know, when you read a book or you watch a film and you're kind of like, oh, it's like commenting on society, and not a lot of people think like that about games either. They're not often taken as seriously, I think, as sometimes they should be. When you actually look at certain games and they're actually making the same messages or like making the same statements as like a film would, or like a TV show would, or like a book would.
I've got a question for you out of your top 3.
Okay.
I feel like Pokemon was really general. So while we kind of have a conversation, you could think about the next. We'll come back to you. Which of the Pokemon games is your favourite?
Oh, I already have those. I feel like they're so controversial decisions, but they're not... Okay, not ranking them from 1 to 3. I'm just going to just sort of say the 3 and not give them rankings. So... Pokemon X and Y, which are the ones that are based in France, and it is like the most gayest one out of all of them. You get to like go shopping, like, and like you get Pokemon where you can give them little haircuts like poodles. Like, it's so camp, and that's partly the reason why it is one of my favourites. It is like the campiest Pokemon game ever, and I live for it. So X and Y, and then the first 2, obviously, because I feel like, come on, they're the ones that started it all.
Is that
like,
red and blue?
Yeah, red and blue. Red, blue, yellow. Actually,
I don't remember yellow.
That was the Pikachu one,
Oh.
and they had like Team Rocket in it and stuff. Oh god, that's so good. And then I'd probably say it's a toss between Black and White, which are the ones that came out like 10 years ago now, like on the DS, that were really really good, or Gold and Silver, because Gold and Silver were kind of like the ones where it was like the first time in colour. Like if you had the crystal version, they moved, like, and the sprites were like the first time they ever looked like how they did in the anime, and it was just like, so yeah. Actually, I'd say Gold and Silver, X and Y, Red and Blue.
Because they were basically the same game.
Yeah. Well, Red and Blue and, yeah, we're quite close to Gold and Silver.
Yeah.
But
no,
yeah.
I know, I mean, like, as in the pairs, like Red and Blue were basically, like Gold and Silver were basically the same game.
Yeah. So Pokemon always does that, and then they release like a third version, so there's like Yellow for Red and Blue, and then for like Generation 1, and then like Crystal for like Generation 2, which is like Gold and Silver, and they do it out. Except for X and Y, which never got one.
I never
which
played
I'm really upset about.
Pokemon in that, to that capacity. Do you like, is it with the different colours, do you get like different stars with them?
No, so you get like different Pokemon, so it encourages you to trade. So say for example, like in Red and Blue, like in Red you got like Growlithe and like Gloom and stuff, and then in Blue you'll have like Vulpix and Bellsprout. So it means it kind of like encourages you to trade. And there's certain other story differences depending. So like with Ruby and Sapphire, the evil team was different depending on the version you got. Sometimes, actually a lot of the time, like the legendary mascot will be different. So like in Gold and Silver, you had Lugia for Silver and Ho-Oh for Gold. So you so to differentiate, it was basically just to make encourage you to buy both, or have friends to trade. Which, if you didn't have friends to trade with, me, then you bought both and traded yourself.
I think I had both like Gold and Silver, because I remember having I might have also had, I think maybe my cousin had one or the others,
Mm.
like the red and blue one. But I do remember having both of one set of them. I can't remember, and I used to trade with myself.
You had to, right?
Like, I didn't have time. I'm just like, oh, I want that Pokemon. I'm gonna trade.
Yeah.
It was great though. I didn't buy them though. I was too young, so it wasn't my money.
Yeah. What would you say yours is?
See, I don't think I've played as many different ones as you. I think I've only played 3 sets of them.
Mm.
So like, I'm pretty sure it was like the red and blue, the gold and silver, and then there was like a ruby and sapphire.
Yeah, on the Game Boy Advance, right?
Yeah. And so I think I only played those 3. So
Those 3?
the only 3 I've played.
Uh,
So yeah. Did you play Pokemon, Dale?
No, not those kinds of Pokemon. The only Pokemon games I really played is Pokemon Go, which is not a Pokemon game to me.
it is a Pokemon game.
Well, I mean, it's not like
It's not like
Main
the same
series,
way.
yeah.
main series. But it's taught me a lot about what the different Pokemons are, and I can see the appeal in terms of why it's sort of continued to be so popular over the years. I feel like the kind of games, as I said, I was into was more 2 players, so it was always needing someone else to be there. And I guess the only other game I really played was Tekken a lot. That's the game I mostly played, and WWE as well, which is really fun.
Who's your favourite Tekken character?
My favourite Tekken Oh, that's easy. That's Xiaoyu. I think I'm saying her name wrong.
Xiaoyu, yeah.
Xiaoyu, yeah. Because she's got like all of the moves, and she's also very graceful with her moves as well, which is why I liked her. I always tend to prefer female fighting characters.
Yeah.
I had a thing about female fighters. I thought it was like just so amazing that like, you know, you don't really see this representation. Well, actually, in games, you don't really see strong female characters that are not in a certain way.
Damsels in distress.
Yeah, I think it was good that like you had these fighting characters that were like female. Well, the ones I played anyway were female.
Yeah, I used to do that too, a lot.
And kick-ass, well, like, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I just did that anyway, but that might have been because I'm also a girl.
Who's your... did you ever play Tekken?
I mean, I did, but I wasn't like I said, I didn't have Tekken.
Yeah.
It's like my cousin, so I played it with her. I couldn't name you a character.
Do you remember what any of them looked like?
Yeah.
There was a girl with like blonde pigtails. Is that the right game?
No, there's no blonde pigtails. Yeah,
No.
there's pigtails, but that's the one I'm talking about, but it's black.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You might be able to have changed the thing.
This is what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it was always like somebody else had fighting games that I played with, so it was never like that I cared about the names, because it was only like a session that you just picked a character.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I can't tell you. Sorry.
Do you have a favourite character?
I have like 2.
Okay, well then.
So it's a toss between, well, I guess in terms of ones that you can actually play now and ones you can't. So my actual favourite character is Kanemitsu, which is like Yoshimitsu's little sister. But she's not in it anymore, hasn't been in it in a while. So, because I wasn't really that into Tekken. I did like playing it, but I preferred Soul Calibur and Soul Blade because of the weapons and the magic-y kind of more element to it. But Anna Williams.
Anna Williams.
The slutty one.
She was an assassin, wasn't she? Anna Williams.
I think so, yeah. She was always, even when I was like really young. I lived for that dress. And the fact that she could like kick people in the face with like high heels and like smack them down. Like literally big people and just like chucking them over her shoulder. It's like, how do you do that in like 6-inch heels?
I asked Beyonce how she does all this dancing in 6 inches. Not gonna lie. I can't believe that none of us referenced like Spyro or Rayman.
They were, for me, I really liked Spyro, but I again more liked watching my mum play it because she was like really good at platformers, so it was like she could do all of the things that I basically couldn't do in the game, so I'd just be like, but in terms of playing it myself, I was only ever really good at the first one because it was a lot simpler, and then as they kind of went on, they got a bit too hard.
We did replay the one you guys were playing recently.
Wait, Rayman. We do have that. Yeah, so we do have that one.
Yeah.
And yeah, but we haven't unlocked all of the older version yet. But we've completed the whole thing now, even the bonus music levels.
We've completed Legends, but we've not completed Origins.
Yeah, that's what I haven't completed. Like I think we gave up after a while because it was like Also, because you had to unlock the levels.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you have to have enough of the higher levels, you have to go back and do the levels, which seemed a bit easier, but I thought it was harder to do the Origins one than it was to do the Legends one. Like, we passed that. We did all of the bonus levels and still couldn't finish the original.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Some of those levels were ridiculous.
I think, our plan is to go back and get maybe, like, all of the blue things you need to basically get full points on all of the levels.
Yeah.
I think we want to do that so we can, because we need to unlock the Origins.
Yeah, more of that stuff.
I think we've unlocked quite a bit of it because we did go back and like get all the stars on some of the levels in order to unlock them. I just don't think that we could pass the level. We got stuck and then we kind of didn't go back to it, which we probably could have if had we gone back to it. But then, like, so many other games come out.
Yeah.
So.
What games are you guys distracted by at the moment?
At the moment, we've been playing a lot of Civilization 6. So it was one that Mo used to play when he was, like, I suppose a bit younger, and thought I'd get into. So he was like, download this, and I didn't have a PC for a while, so it was hard to kind of get PC games that we could play because I didn't actually have even a laptop. But the laptop that I have now is kind of perfect for getting into PC gaming. So he was like, let's play that. So I downloaded that and we've kind of played that. To be fair, we're still on the first game. It's just not ended yet.
Yeah.
So we just go back every now and again and we all like play some more levels. Normally, like on a Friday night when we're really tired, but we want to stay up for the basketball. If we play the game for a while, then at 2 a.m. when the basketball starts, we'll still be awake. Although we have found that as soon as we stop playing, because we're so tired, we do just kind of fall asleep, which is not great when you want to watch the basketball. But yeah, so we've been kind of getting into Civilization 6, which is great, and obviously massively looking forward to when Baldur's Gate comes out. We're kind of obsessed with that, like watching all the little trailers of what's going on. Can't wait.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
I really want to play it.
Oh, I really, really want to play it. And obviously with us getting really into Divinity together and it being the same makers, we kind of know what could be possible from that engine. Excited to see what kind of things that they've added. And obviously being available on Stadia and stuff like that gives the possibility, like I was saying before, about being able to make your games a little bit more like immersive or better graphics and stuff like that, where you don't have to worry about storing it and being able to render it. So yeah, I would probably say playing massively a lot Civ 6. Looking forward to Baldur's Gate. We do play Divinity, but we've got that's been taken over by Civ. What about you?
I started playing The Sims.
Oh!
I came to like the creation stage, but I thought like I started making a character, but then I realised that I'm gonna be here a while, so let me not save it and then come back to you. Like
Sims is gonna take a lot of time out of your life because there's a lot of investment. I think I spent more time creating my house than I did playing the actual game. Like the actual setup of it, especially when you get to the hacks that allows you to have unlimited money, and then
I
you
always
just build
do
the
that.
house of your dreams. And then and you'll spend ages just building your house.
That's what I mainly do on The Sims now, is I build the houses, but, well, Dale's playing My Sims, that means it has things like the Magic Pack on there, and the University one and stuff. The Magic Pack is really fun, I must say. Although when you set fire to people, they don't die. And that's the only boring thing. And when you set fire to buildings, they just put the fire out.
That's what
That is the problem. The Sims needs to go back to being more chaotic and violent. That was when it was at its peak.
Rayman, a lot of Rayman. We've not really been playing much else, really.
Trivial Pursuit, we've been playing that.
Yeah, oh my god, Trivial Pursuit. It's literally like, we've kind of been playing it every evening.
On the PlayStation 4. I think we played it with you before, the console version of Trivial Pursuit.
But it's been really fun playing it, actually, because it's like, it's just such a good, easy game. You know, sometimes you just want to play a game where it's not like, you don't have to, it's not such a time sink. Because I prefer, I think, like, playing PC games like World of Warcraft and that sort of stuff rather than sitting at a console, unless, again, it's 2-player and you're playing with someone else. But, yeah, with Trivial Pursuit, it's kind of like you play a couple of rounds, you win. I mostly win. And then, yeah, it's over.
What do you think the future of games is?
Sorry, I may need to think about that.
Yeah, I kind of need to think about that as well. I feel like I wish I did have the spoilers for the question earlier.
I could answer to start, and then might spark some discussion. So I kind of think that games, even right now, are kind of being used to connect people. And I think especially now with like everything that's going on with COVID, it's like people can't really like live their lives in the same way they used to. And so I think games kind of give people a route to, I don't know, experience things and I guess simulate stuff that they can't necessarily do right now. But I think sometimes also in general. And I think that that level of kind of healthy escapism into something artistic is something that will always remain in games. But I think that the future I see it in it is kind of it being used to bring more people together through kind of multiplayer stuff and through more immersive experiences. Like, I think VR, I think they will get to a point where I think it will take off quite a lot. And I remember specifically, I think it must have been, well, I was in primary school, I think, still, where they had those machines where, again, they could control, like, things that were going on in this kind of game with thought. And I kind of think that's probably where it will end up moving to, is these kind of very immersive experiences where, like, again, you won't even need gamepads. You just kind of sort of think with your mind where you want your avatar to go and stuff like that. Which, again, may become quite important depending on what we do to this planet. We might not ever be able to leave our houses again. Like, it might be like the Matrix situation where it's kind of like we need to be plugged in.
Have you guys ever watched Ready Player One?
No.
I've heard of it.
You guys need to watch Ready Player One. One, because you're massive into gaming and there's like so many game references, especially like 80s. Like,
I think we may have watched an episode with you.
It's not an episode.
It's a film.
It's a film.
That's one where they go into the thing and they're racing, aren't they?
About something else.
There is a racing element to it, yeah. So basically it's this world where everyone kind of interacts in kind of like, you put on a headset, so it's kind of like the world isn't really quite real. Everyone kind of lives in this gaming world. And you can get like suits that you can like feel what happens with the avatar. So you have your avatar and you go in, you can do anything pretty much in these spaces, and they've created them, and the whole point of the film is to win this kind of challenge, this 3-step challenge to unlock this hidden kind of Easter egg that the designer put into the game.
This sounds really,
that
really
gives
familiar.
you ultimate power over or avatars or something like that. Or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly, but yeah, it's basically some people have reconstructed like old games, and then they go in. It's kind of like an old game that you're in, and so yeah, it's really good. I really would recommend it. Like if you're looking for a film to watch, to try it out. I think it's on Netflix. Might be on Amazon, and obviously if it's on Amazon, you might have had to pay for it. But
we've got Amazon Prime. It's fine.
Yeah, but not everything is included
right.
in Prime. That's what I mean. So you might have had to pay for it. I'll check. But yeah, Ready Player One is a lot of that kind of concept. Obviously not completely like in your mind, but where a whole world is immersed in terms of that kind of game interactions. It's a really good film for that.
Okay.
I kind of, when I think of like the future of gaming, I kind of question the future of consoles. I don't necessarily. I think people like Stadia, and to kind of give them their props as well. Kind of Xbox and Microsoft are kind of moving to online streaming gaming as well. Although I'm not sure if they've actually done it yet, if I'm honest. But obviously Stadia's been out for maybe a year now. And it's still building. It gives that kind of stepping stone to actually there's going to be a lot more chance to have a little bit more interaction because there's no cross-platform restrictions.
Yeah.
So for example with Baldur's Gate, it will be available to play with your friends online regardless of what console they're playing on or what device they're playing on, which I think is really cool. And that will also kind of help I suppose, more people on the move when you are on the move. But again, with 5G, I think the possibilities will be endless about how even like gaming can be incorporated into our lives a lot more.
Yeah.
And what kind of games you play as well. More level based, I would expect, like if you're on a commute or something like that, you want to be able to say, okay, I finished that level or I passed that level, and have stages rather than be in the middle of a game and have to pause it.
Yeah.
Maybe, depending on the person, but yeah, I kind of see it less about what you play it on and more about what you're playing.
I'm a bit of a nostalgia freak, and I think what I'd want to see is more new releases of old titles.
Okay.
That you maybe had on the Xbox or the PlayStation. Or maybe actually not those platforms, but for the Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo sort of thing. Yeah, and just re-releasing old titles, because I think it's kind of shown and proven that like there is a fan base still for games like the Crash remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that sort of franchise. Sonic and Mario and stuff has always been going anyway, but yeah, re-releasing the old titles and allowing people to enjoy that nostalgia.
Oh, sounds cool. Yeah, I think I can see things, because I do think that like I do kind of think that in terms of like the whole console thing, I do think it kind of is getting to the point where I think it is a little redundant now. Like I think it shouldn't be the case of where just because you have one box doesn't mean to say you can't play with somebody else who has another box, or like certain games won't run, which is still even again an issue with PC and Mac, which I don't know why, because that annoys me, because my Mac is like my gaming thing and half of my games can't play. So I think, yeah, I can see it kind of going that way, because I think otherwise it just shuts out your potential market and makes it a bit more restricted. And I do think there is a big appetite now for like remasters of old games, because I think those games are still good. Like the reason why people enjoyed those games wasn't necessarily for the graphics, it was for the gameplay elements. And I think that there's no harm in recreating those gameplay elements, but just updating the graphics so that you can actually kind of see in detail what certain things are. Because even with like the CTR remake, when I played it, it still felt like I was playing the PS1 version. It's kind of like, even though it was HD graphics, it was kind of like, that's kind of how I saw it as anyway from when I was younger. Like, and even when I went back, I was kind of like, wow, this is still pretty faithful, like, recreation of something.
Yeah.
So I think that there is a big appetite for that. I certainly see it. There's always, like in Pokemon, I've been doing it for like yonks. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed debating. Don't forget to hit subscribe to get notified of future episodes. For additional content, behind the scenes fun, and more of our beautiful faces, give us a follow on Instagram at P3Podcast. Hi, the name's Liam. I've got pics. You want to see them? Well then don't wait till tomorrow. Give us a follow. Go on IG and search at la.me.
You can follow me, Dale, on Instagram at DaleCam11. Yeah, go on, follow me.
You can follow me on IG at Shay_Cam. Look forward to seeing you there.